welcome to Flory Models Daily Vlog. Here we are on the 1st of January 2017, another month gone. We're going to have a prize giveaway for you. It's a great prize giveaway and everything else like that for this month. I will get that sorted on Friday's special show. I know it's a little bit all out of sync with us doing the prize draws and things like that, but trust me, this one is well worth it. We're actually giving away an Iwata airbrush. So anyway, one question that popped up, which I saw overnight, which we're going to look at obviously more in a few days' time, but one of you guys was on about that how comes when you watch the videos on YouTube, they're crystal clear, but when you watch them on the site, they're a little bit fuzzy and it doesn't seem to have the higher quality and everything else, what's sort of going on. A lot of it is to do with auto. What happens when you log into YouTube and everything else like that, it's sort of a standalone, but if you're doing it via another site and you've got other windows running, what can happen is it can just get squeezed with bandwidth and stuff, so sometimes it steps you down through to 720 or something else like that. So what I mean is, hopefully you'll be able to see, if I grab the camera, you can see as I can. Obviously this is the site, so if you go over to video builds, this is a classic example of it. There's all our video builds loading all the way through. Okay, so if we just go on the last one, we did the A10. Okay, so this is the A10 build here. If I stick the camera somewhat like that. Okay, so down in here, you can see, if we just tell this to lock on, sorry, it's having a hard time locking on to, there we go. Click play, if I mute it and just pull you along a little bit. Okay, so this is watching it and like 960 and all the rest of it. It should be crystal clear. Down the bottom here, you can see just down in here, sorry, it falls off the thing, just down in here, okay, if you click there, okay, you get this little thing that comes up. Now if you are like me, you have it checked to auto, what can happen is it can think, well, you've got something else running, bandwidth's a bit tight, so it might drop you down to sort of 720, 480. All you want to do is go up and click it, so then when you put your mouse over this and look at it, it's stuck at 1080 at 50. That's what we are sort of, you know, native resolution that we do everything at. We do a few little things in 4K, bits and pieces like that, but for the moment we're sort of sticking with that because it's an easy one to do. Of course you can go full screen, so on this monitor it's huge. Okay, and the same thing again, just down in that corner, click down there, just make sure it says 1080 and all the rest of it. Okay, so from that point of view you can watch it in a huge resolution just like that, and don't forget that's on a 34 high def monitor, literally just like that, so it runs absolutely crystal clear, no problem at all. And in theory, doing it in full screen like this, you don't have any problems at all, and obviously you can bring it back, but that is the difference when you're doing it. And if we just pause that over here, for instance, and you're watching YouTube and you just click on a video and you're watching it, and perhaps you go full screen, let me just fast forward a bit, I know this is different camera angles and everything else down here, it may look it, but that's because down here native it might be just a little bit different, okay, and everything else like that. So that is the reason for it. So you just want to make sure that that little box when you're watching it on here, when you go full screen to watch it, just make sure it is down there and you are checked for 1080 at 50 if you want it the crystal clear one. Some guys, if you've got lower resolution monitors, stuff like that, it's not too bad, but obviously for this monitor, because it's on a 1440 ultra wide, running at 100 megahertz refresh rate, it's still not up to its full potential. It is something perhaps we may be looking at in the future to actually stream things in 1440, but the trouble is then on here you might notice we have black bars each side. On there it doesn't when you're in 1080 and all the rest of it in full screen, because it is in 1080 resolution, that's a 1080 monitor and various things like that. So it's just that thing of trying to work out the best stream rates and the various things like that, as you can imagine. But it's a little question that came up. I know the site as well, to be honest, apologies, not really my fault. If I just put this back to our page, otherwise thing is it'll be trying to track me. The site did a dump last night. It was only offline for 20 minutes and it wasn't totally offline. What it was, it goes to the backup server. The backup server is obviously a lot slower and it takes forever to load pages through, so apologies for that. It was around about 7:30. I had loads of emails through and I'm sort of, it will come back. If it ever happens, just go and have a coffee, go and do something, come back in half an hour. If it's not repaired in half an hour, then panic, then start emailing me and all the rest of it, because then chances are something definitely is wrong. But obviously our host company, which is Squarespace, they're one of the biggest in the world for this type of thing. They're pretty good. I've never known them not to, and normally if there is a real fault, they'll let me know instantly. It says we've got a real fault at the moment, and it may be regional as well, because obviously don't forget we've got servers in different locations. We're out of the way around the world. So I think it was the US one took a dump, because that one does Europe as well, but then other people in other parts of the world have no issues with it whatsoever. So again, it's just a regional type thing. Have a coffee, don't worry about it. So this morning, to be honest, I've been doing a load of editing. When I say a load of editing, I've done lots of editing. So we've got the next 3 parts lined up basically for the A10 build. Part 2 is going to be up with you today. It talks basically about obviously doing the gun work, doing a bit of the paint work, and working our way, just generally getting everything together. Part 3 of that, which probably will be up with you on Monday. I might put it up Friday, just depends on how much we got going on. That's going to literally get you up to where you saw yesterday, and everything else. Today I'm going to crack on with it this morning for about 2 hours. I'm going to hopefully get all the internals done, it all buttoned up and everything else like that. Then at lunchtime what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the camera, probably use the big camera because it's a little bit easier. I'm going to start to take you around the studio and explain the tools, why I use them, and obviously like everybody I'm a hoarder. I've got tools I don't use, and I'll explain to you why I don't use them, and everything else as we make our way through like that. The other thing I know lots of you are asking in the forum about, and again I try and do these things off camera so you don't see, but sometimes I do them. This stuff, which is, there we go, the actual plastic magic. Deluxe materials, I know some people are saying, oh, it's great, but you can't get it in my country and all the rest of it. It does make its way around. It's in every language possible around here, so I assume they do work their way around the world. It's not a new product, it has been out for a while, but it comes with a little thin brush as well, which is quite handy. And what I thought I would do, instead of just doing, you know, a couple of bits of plastic on, oh yes, it glues and everything else, I'm actually using it on this entire build to see how good it is. And, you know, initially, here we are, what we've been doing this a week, and we've been gluing up, as I say, we've got the tail section all done and everything else. I have to say, I hate to say it in a lot of ways, because here we go again, I'm preferring this over Tamiya Extra Thin, purely because it's just that little bit thicker. And when I say a little bit thicker, we are talking, you know, I don't know what the viscosity rates are and all the rest of it, but this stuff, it's got good capillary action, but it's a tiny bit thicker, which enables things to have a little bit more play time. Also, I'm thinking, because it's a little bit thicker, and when we say thicker, this stuff is still like water to touch, by the way, it seems to be melting better. And it seems to sort of, you know, it melts 2 parts together, and it's a rock hard finish. Sometimes, and I don't know if you guys have had it as well, but when you use Tamiya Extra Thin, especially if you do the trick of having 2 parts together already, you know, or if you do the under tap thing that I tend to do here, where you sort of just tap the underside and get the capillary action, absorbs it up into the joint, then you can squeeze it. I just sometimes sand it and you end up with a gap because it hasn't properly welded it up or anything else like that. This stuff is a lot stronger. I haven't had any issues. I've got to do this wing yet and clean this one up, but everything feels very solid. Now, I've only tried it on this one type of plastic. I don't know what it works with other people's plastics, the softer ones out there or the harder ones, so I can't comment on that. But just for the moment, I'm using it on this particular build, and I have to be, you know, I have to say I'm very impressed with it. It is working very nicely. So if you are, you know, having trouble finding Extra Thin and all the rest of it, or perhaps your Extra Thin's coming to the end of its life and stuff like that, it may be worth having a go with this just to see what you think as well. As I say, I'm just one person's review. I'm just giving you my honest thing to it. You know, I bought this one really because a couple of people have mentioned it to me in the past about it, and I thought, oh, well, go on then, I'll just tag it onto the back of an order I put in with the company. But yeah, it's working really nicely. So yeah, Deluxe Materials Plastic Magic. Once we finish this entire build, I do a little bit more testing with it, with a few other kits and various bits of plastic, see what it's like. It's really good. I'll do a proper full review of it and do an on test, and I'll show you the differences and the reasons I like it over things like Extra Thin and stuff like that. So we'll see really how we get on. But again, nice to have a product come along that works. You know, it's not one of these which is just trying to reinvent something or just be exactly the same. There's a small little difference to it which I'm preferring over other things. Anyway, that's it for now. As I say, I'm going to record a little bit. I'll probably do it as a separate, because I want to do is make it into a little bit of a series of going through the tool cabinets. That way I can use a better camera. We'll get the tripod out, set it down into sort of cupboards and things like that, rather than just handheld and all being horrible and things like that. So what I'll do is I'll do it as a standalone, but I'll tag them onto these videos if you like. So we'll put it in amongst everything, and then if you want to go back and watch it at a later date, so we make our way around the entire of here. I'll also take you upstairs and I'll show you things like the computers upstairs. As I say, this is one of many we have here doing editing and rendering and stuff like that, and I can show you the reasons why and where and everything for the entire Flory model setup. So there we go. I'll catch you all a little bit later. Hi guys, just going through some of the YouTube stuff, and yeah, you're quite right. Somehow I missed the weapons sprue when we did the review for the 1/6 scale Stormtrooper. As you can see, we'll do it this way. Absolutely beautiful, no problems again. These are fantastic. They go together roughly the same as the other ones. The only one difference is we get bipods slightly different, deployed or closed, whichever way you want it. It's quite nice. They are go together slightly different, the guns and things like that, but generally, as you can see, the detail absolutely crisp, beautifully done, no problem at all. Nice, good quality casting. See the heavy blaster, the 11 there, as well as the pistol. All looking very, very nice. Sorry about that, guys. I really can't understand how I missed that one. I must admit, I did review that literally a month ago, but I've only actually just got around to editing it and putting it up. So apologies for that, but as you can see, another beautiful sprue. Okay then guys, so this is my first tool chest. As I say, I bought these, what do we have them now, 2 years? Absolutely love them, fantastic, very handy to have everything everywhere. So top drawer is what I call screwdrivers. So as you imagine, we've got some big meaty ones, but also we've got some little fine ones. These go down to, these are the smallest one we got, which is a 0.5 millimeter screwdriver. We've got the same for the normal sort of slot-headed screwdrivers. We've got hex drives, we've got ball-top hex drive ones as well, and we've got some little ones down here as well. So it just depends on what you actually need. I've also got a set of these, which is dead handy because it's got one of these things with every type of tool and different bits and pieces you could ever use or need or find anywhere. Dead handy little things to have. We've got usual thing, Allen key set, which is always handy, and other Allen keys you generally accumulate when you buy chairs and things like that. Okay, so definite a must-have. As you know, I don't just do this, I do other sort of hobbies as well. So having a good set of tools, something I've collected literally since, crikey, ever, like that. Next one down, we call it small tools. Now this is probably more what you're interested in. So if we work our way from over here, first of all, we got a set of these. Now I bought these the other day. These are diamond tiny little file set. So down here you got all the various little shapes, as you can see literally down there. Really handy thing to have. Okay, this again, very, very handy to have. This is the tiny little drill bit set, which comes in one of these. Okay, again, absolutely fantastic. To be honest, I've broken 2 of these. I need to get another set. Worth their weight in gold, because literally they're on a nice little handle. You can just go in, put tiny little holes into things, no problem at all. This is probably one of the best sets I've ever had, and probably one of my favourite tools. I reach for it every time we're doing any type of scratch building, anything else like that. Okay, so that's really, really handy to have. That one's made by a Union Tool, and the sizes go from 0.3 to 1.2 millimeter. Okay, so absolutely tiny little ones. This little guy for doing circles, you've seen it before, you've seen me use it loads and loads of times. Very handy if you've got anything at all. Literally last time I used it was on the Mustang, and we did the little, for the invasion strike marks underneath to get the sort of curve. So we used this guy, nice little handy one to have. To be honest, old school set of drill bits, which goes with the pillar drill above here. And then we've also got micro box, again, tiny little drill bits, really, really handy to have a set of these. Again, these go from 1.6 millimeter to 0.3. Again, you tend to break them all the time because they're so thin, but very handy to have. And we got some other bigger tools and things like that down there, drill bits down in there. Working our way across, we got these, which actually given me to be by a member years ago. I'm sorry I've forgotten your name. I use them all the time. It's like a bigger pair of my Friskers, but these are really, really comfy for doing hacking jobs and everything else like that. Pair of scissors. I do like Friskers scissors. I think they're one of the best. Okay, so working my way across, we've got an aluminium bar. This is for shaping photo etch and things like that. It's MMM. stuff. We've got some of their other tools which we'll show you in a moment, but it's quite handy for sort of just bending things around it and everything else like that, or just flattening things, those types of tools. Okay, these again, this is the UMM stuff, I do believe still. This is for carving and chiseling. Nice little tool just like that. We've also got down in here a X-Acto blade. I do have a normal knife one. This thing terrifies me. I hate using it purely because I always cut myself with it. The only thing is, and is rightly pointed out, because it's round, it can roll off your desk and then stab you in the leg, foot, whatever. But it's just very easy because obviously you've got this little guy at the back for tightening and untightening, and you can just screw it up via the handle. So if you want to change the blades, it's literally a doddle. Just unscrew it like that. You can pull the blade out and away you go. So it is really as simple as that, okay? Compared with a lot of knives where you have to sort of fiddle around and flaff around. He says all this and I can't get it back in for some reason. Okay, sorry, that way. There we go. But again, just pop it in and then screw it up and you're good to go. So it's easy. But I do carry those blades, but to be honest, I am nightmare. I cut myself, as you all know, so I don't tend to do it. These are the MRP scribing sets. To be honest, I'm not a fan, sorry. As I say, it just goes to show I don't endorse everything I'm sent or anything else like that. They're very good, but I don't think they're a patch on other manufacturers out there. So that's why they were sent to me, to be honest, to review, and I didn't really like them. These Steve absolutely loved. These are the UMM nippers. Okay, again, Steve loves them. He says they're the best thing since sliced everything. I can't get them to work. Now, I don't know if I've got a duff pair or I just don't use them correctly, but he uses it for nipping off photo etch, small parts, stuff like that. Me, I can't get it to do anything. So again, didn't really like that too much. We've got down here Trumpeter's riveting wheel. We'll speak about that in a moment. First down, again, never liked it, never got on with it. It's cheap, it's nasty, and to be honest, once you've used something like these ones, the UMM Rosie the Riveters, you'll never touch it again. Hence it's probably just died a death in there and just fallen apart on me anyway. All right. So down amongst all of this, to be honest, some of this is moved around and all stuff like that. These are little tools which in theory I should find a better little area, but we got an assortment of loose little razor saws. These are tiny little ones. These are the Tamiya ones, which then you can put them into little curves. These are beautiful, absolutely fantastic for taking out small little chunks. I won't go hacking through heavy plastic with it because they are very thin, but for doing little tiny jobs they are fantastic. And I don't know where it is actually. Oh, here it is. So, and a razor saw which sort of goes along with this other one as well. This is the CMK one. Again, a handy tool to have. A razor saw is great for just doing those little tiny cutting jobs and everything else like that. Okay, you know, usual thing, it's a bradawl handle with the drill bit in it. These here for photo etch. Some of you, if you've been watching recently, would have seen I use a mouse mat for doing my photo etch. Again, an assortment. So we've got a square, we've got a sort of a triangle, and we've got an acrylic, just a straightforward rod. These again are great because you can put them on your cutting mat and on your mouse mat and bend things with them, or on your cutting mat for doing photo etch. That's what they're for. My cutters, to be honest, I took them off my desk to put in here, but they do normally live in here. I love these things. Very expensive, completely overpriced, but boy, do they do a fantastic job. Highly recommended if you can afford it. They're a real luxury, but they are very, very nice, okay? Trumpeter's little razor saw, again, outdone. To be honest, I bought these before I had other razor saws. Cheap, does the trick when you're getting going, but trust me, you probably want to upgrade to something else because this blade, it just keeps falling out. You've only got to nudge this little handle on the side and the blade comes off, and then you have to stick it back in and lock it, and oh, I don't know, it's a bit of a nightmare in a flap around. Old Faithful, I've had since the beginning of time, my Tamiya P cutter. I still use it, still love it. It's still one of those tools which you go back to time and time again, even though I've got other ones, so that's great. That's the other MRP scriber, which I don't really like. Dental tool set, this is the Shesto ones. Great for doing any type of rescribing. It's a handy tool if you're doing filler work. It is what it is. It's literally dental tools, but you've got hooks and different shapes on there. Quite handy to have, I must admit. I do use it a lot. These guys here are from the little folding tools for using on the hold and folds I've got. I use the Trumpeter ones. To be honest, these are pretty crap, and I use razor blades because I find them better. That's why they're in here. Down in this corner, we've got some of these. Now, these are made by, I can't remember who it was now, MDC, that was it. These are punch sets, but they're not. These are actually riveting, but they're domed. It gives you domed rivets. Yeah, really nice, but anything less than 1/32, 1/48, I think are a bit of a waste of time, okay? Because it just takes you forever to work with it, and I've got the other bits of tools in there. They are good, I have used them, but boy are they long-winded. Again, trumpeter, it's not always crap. This actually is a really nice little rescribing tool. Very fine lines, and I use it probably a lot more than I use the Tamiya P cutter. Okay, it's great. It's got a nice little point, gets in the corner. So not all cheap tools are rubbish, because that is a really cheap one and it works just as good as anything else on the market. Okay, down in here we've got some of the, I call it like the photo etchy type bits and everything else, but we've got the mottling templates, which used to be the one below it, which I will put them back. These are the mottling ones for doing any sort of Luftwaffe 190s, 109s, things like that set. Okay, so that can go back down there. These are my template scribes from the Tri template set. Again, I've had these since the beginning of the time. Any video you've ever seen, I've had these since the beginning. So you've got circles, squares, and then obviously ovals and different shapes, so forth and so on. Again, as I said, I've had these now for probably 20 years and they still work as good as the day I bought them. We've got down here, these are the Tamiya razor saw blade sets. That's how they come on this quite thick photo etch, but that's those. Okay, we've also got in here more scribers. So these are my two sort of go-to sort of scribers. We've got the UMM scribers. We've got the number 1 and number 2. As you can probably see, one has got a hook on it, one more of a straight. They both got a blade on the side. As I said, I use those all the time. This is the Holly scriber made by Alec, which is A-L-E-C, okay, in Japan. The thing is lethal. It's like a claw. It's like a raptor's claw. It's very, very thin. This is 0.15. Great for doing tiniest little panel lines or cutting work and things like that. But it is lethal. Absolutely lethal. Okay, so I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll show you these all at the same time. UMM did a punch set. And things like that. And to be honest, they did send it to me when I did a bit of a review for them as a thank you, and I used it, and you can see the punched out parts down on here. Worked absolutely beautiful. So if you need bits of metal punched out, you know, to make your own type of photo etch, little details, surface details, things like that, beautiful. And as you can see, we've got the heads for them. All you've got is this little guy here. You put your metal over the top, punch down through this punch onto it. Nice little clean punch, because this is rubber, and away you go. Very handy little tool. I've used it more than I ever thought I would, to be honest. And still down in here, we've got another one of those. The only trouble with this is it's rubber on the bottom, but things stick to it. Now, we were saying about these things, which I don't really like. This is the templates for them. So now I tend to use it for normal riveting. But these are like saw teeth. So what it is, you put your little tool into every single one and push, and away you go. And you get these, which are different scales. This is 1/48 scale. It's a riveting guide. It's like a blade, a saw blade, and it's got teeth. So you get equal distances as you push your way through. Again, I think it's more of a gimmicky thing than anything else. Okay, right, so that's those. Down in this one we spoke about, to be honest, I've just got some pins, a little bit of aluminium foil, not a lot going down on there. Down to here we've got this, which this is a safety blade dispenser. Okay, so your safety blades come out like this, and then when you're finished with them, you put them up the other end and you push it down, so no more leaving blades lying around the house for the kids or having to put them in the bin. It goes in here, so the magazine comes down, and then you just refill, and then this is actually a refill. It comes off and you can buy a refill for it and then slap another one in, and away you go. As you say, it's got wall fixings as well, so you can put it on the wall and just press the button down there, and away you go. It's made by a company called Persona. There's a small story to that, but I don't think I can go into that now. Okay, but very good, highly recommended. I bought these literally last week. These are a file set, and I've been needing something a little bit bigger than the little files we showed over here. You know, those little diamond files. Okay, so I had some of these, but they had worn out, so I rebought. But I needed something between a sanding stick and a tiny file, so I bought these. Again, these are made by, I think, a Shesto or someone like that. Really handy tool to have. And it's just one of those things where I've been using them on the A10 build. Absolutely love them. Okay, so that's those. We might as well get it out of the way. Rosie the Riveter. Yes, I've gone over the top. If you want to ever do any type of riveting, just buy these, because I can honestly say riveting has been my nemesis for the beginning of time with modelling, and only last year did I buy these, and then since that I've been doing everything. And I'd say I was to the point where the Meteor Jet we did last, I free-handed everything. I didn't use a guide, I just literally pushed this all over it, and that's how we did the riveting on it. I'm back confident with my riveting now. Again, it's one of those tools, very expensive, a complete luxury. You don't have to buy the set, but once you have, you'll never go back. Okay. That's how those little razor saws come on the little photo etch sheets like that. That's those ones we were looking at a minute ago. That's the paperwork for that. That's a warranty card for something. Little bits of photo etch. Haven't used these. We had them in for review. I sent some up to Steve to have a look at as well. But we were sent these. These are the U-Star Japanese ones, literally deburring tools. We'll speak about those when we make our way around to the other part of the studio where I've got more of them, but that's those. This is stuff which I did the riveting demo on. Again, some more of this stuff, hobby style ones. These are blades, again, deburring tools or just scrape cleaning, things like that. UMM, this does this wire type stuff. This is round lead wire. They sent me some of those. Spare blades, obviously always keep spare blades because they always break on you right when you need them. So I always keep good stocks of blades. This is what we were knocking out, punching out the sets with, so it's handy to have. Okay, that's just there. Never used it, bought them, but this is a plastic circle board set. These are actually basically circle plastic cards. You use them as templates, but you've got little, the centers of them in there as well, tiny little ones. I think they'd just be really handy thing to have. Saying that, I've had them now for, best part probably 2-3 years, and I've never used them, so probably not that handy. Okay, more sets. More of these claw things, which does look like something from Star Trek. But actually no, that's actually a saw, so it's a saw at one end and it's a scriber in one. Okay, so it's a lethally looking thing. This is one of those deburring tools. Again, very nicely done. A little bit more of that photo etch stuff we've got down there. Razor type saws. I did a review on razor saws, so I bought 2 packs of them all because they're dirt cheap, so I thought we'd have a look at those. And that is it in there. Bondic. Glue, again sent to me by a member in Canada because you couldn't get it over here at the time. I've had it now years and years. I use it for sticking on doors and canopies and anything that's in like an open position because this stuff is stronger than super glue. Yeah, it's not as fragile. So super glue, although it's there, it's got that ping factor. This works the same way as in it's instant. You've got an ultraviolet light on the end here. You've got the glue applicator at the other end. You've seen it in various builds and videos we've done with it. Chances are I'll be using it on the A10. Comes in a nice little case, so thank you for that. Blast from the past, you guys used to buy all the little mini sanding tools from us. That's the set from those. Tamiya weathering set. Some watchmaker's glue. This is that GS Hypo cement. I don't know if it's still, I've had it just donkey's years. Spare remote for the cameras that we use. There we go, so that's that drawer there. Next one down, this is my sort of masking tape and various things like that. So down in here we've got the old easy knitting in elastic. That's how I do all my rigging work and aerials and all stuff like that. Okay, very handy stuff to have. Okay, and then if we work our way down the side. Spoke about this on the live show on Sunday night. This is the cement. So what you actually do is soldering cement. It is literally like a paste. So it is a paste just like that. Okay, you rub that onto your photo etch, clamp it together, heat it, and it melts all in one. Perfect, easy. Dymo tape for rescribing. This is flux, I do believe. Is it flux? Yeah, flux for soldering. Putty. This is the old plastic putty, the Vallejo stuff. Actually, I really like that stuff. It is really nice. Tamiya polishing compound. Never really use it now. It's the finishing type. We've got down there Mr. Surfer. This is the dissolved putty. Never liked that stuff. I don't know why. Just never really got on with that one. We've got a small nozzle. Lead. To be honest, you guys know I had a new roof recently, so I've got an abundance of lead everywhere. And then down the back here, to be honest, I've got shims of lead and bits of plastic card. These are offcuts from when I'm doing various bits and pieces, so I chuck them around there. Spare blades for my knives. As a lot of you know, I don't use the standard type craft knives. I use these disposable types. These are made by, I've got to remember who makes these now. It's Olfa, or whatever they're called, OLFA, but that's a pack of God knows how many there. And then what you do is you've got a little tool here so you can put it and snap off the end bits and they fall down into the rubbish bit of it, but it's really nice. But basically it goes with this one. It's a universal size, and well, but as you know, I tend to use this knife, and I used to have spare blades for it, but I bought those, so it keeps it all nice and tidy. Okay, that's it at the top. Here we've got various thin tapes. I've got copper coloured tapes, I've got clear, I've got red, we've got this sort of a cheap version of carving tape and stuff like that. So we've got various things like that. This is my masking tape drawer, for want of a better word. The tiniest, thinniest masking tapes you've seen. Okay, so loads of those down there. Band-Aid, which is great for doing fabric seats to give that effect of it. So that's where we have that. It's not that I totally cut myself open all the time. That really tiny thin tape is that Azui tape, which is that stuff there. Works really, really well. Masking tapes, as you say, we've got the washi type tapes, which are okay, but they're not brilliant. Tamiya tape, I absolutely love, as you can imagine, so various different sizes, all the way through that down there. Down in here, as you can see, I did bend. I've actually tried to straighten it a bit, but I bent my razor saw, so that's why we bought a new one. You'll see it at another show. Digital calipers, very handy tool to have. I am a collector, like a safety steel ruler, so this has got that edge on it, so when you cut down it can't jump off and come and cut you in half. And then we've got hacksaw, junior hacksaw, always handy. Now these guys down here are something I played with for a couple of weeks. Couldn't really get it to work as I was hoping, but these are silver gel pens. So we've got a white one, we've got a nice sort of really bright silver, then we've sort of got a gunmetal type colour, and then we've got a very dark black metal-y colour one as well. These are gel type, so the idea being is I was hoping I'd be able to use them for sort of fine details and painting and perhaps doing cockpit details, things like that. Doesn't work quite as well as I was hoping. Something I played with a while ago. Down onto this side, we've got 5-minute epoxy resin. You'd be amazed how much I use that stuff. Debonder, always have a debonder to hand in case you super glue yourself together. This is Tamiya's carving tape, as they call it. Again, more Dymo tape, got rolls of it everywhere. And we've got this stuff, which I can't remember which one was, but again, that was carving tape as well. So ideally, what it is, you're supposed to be able to put it around curves and then you use it for panel line guide and stuff like that. Squadron putty, so we've got white and green. That one's gone off, that's like a brick. Had them a long time, and this is my old file sets, which, to be honest, these are horrible. They're not nice at all, so that's why I've got a new set. Okay, so there we go. That's what I call masking tape. Aftermarket drawer. This is where I keep all my aftermarket bits, which I haven't got a clue even what I've got down in here, but it's all for projects I've got on the go and some stuff that I always just tend to have kicking around, like ejector seats. Like down there, we've got an Aces ejector seat. We've got some wheels left over from back in the day. I've got the D-Molds F4 seamless intakes. I know we used to stock those years ago when we had the shop. So I've got some of those left over. We've got belts, harnesses, we've got various photo etch sheets and everything down there. Masking sets I never got round to doing. We've got some decals even in here. Exhaust sets, wheels, you name it, we've got it, literally. We've got stuff for various things which I bought at the time and never used them, like that's the wheel set for the F-16. No, it's not. It's the F-14 trumpeter wheels. But obviously I did it in flight, so that sort of put pay to that one. And things that I've got, which hopefully I'll get round to one day. So we've got the armoured set for the MI8 hip, various things like that. So yeah, and things like when I bought the tracks for the Bradley, but then we didn't go down that route. So I do tend to buy these things and then forget I've got them, and a lot of the time I forget what I've got in here and we end up buying duplicates. So I should make a bit of an inventory and sort them out. Little tiny beads, these are great for doing little lights, things like that if you need them. So again, very nice little stuff to have. Raised rivets as well, and domey type things and anything else like that. So anyway, that's all down in there. This is my scratch build drawer, which if I just angle my camera, now we're getting further away from you. Okay, so if we just bring you in a little bit further down, this is where the camera falls over on me. Okay, so Scratch building stuff. This is all the bits that I've used over the years and everything else like that. Okay, so I always keep my offcuts of resin because you'd be amazed how much you use them and go back. So I've got various things in there from over the time we've had duplicates and things I have used and haven't. Again, all my photo etch parts, I never throw any of the stuff I don't use away because you never know when you're going to need it. Okay, so that's what you'll find down in here. This is some of that foam stuff that you can carve, really good stuff. Okay, and I've also got things like down in here we've got raised archer riveting decals, things like that, which are the nice ones. We've also got bits of foam because they're always handy. Again, these are all offcut stuff and bits and pieces. I've got some stuff in here. Some of this, to be honest, is when we had the store, we had our shop. These are the leftovers, remnants from the shop. So I've got obviously a load of the material removed before flight tags and stuff like that in here. So as you can imagine, various lumps and bumps of everything sort of aftermarket down here. We've got some tape which was sent by a member, really handy if you need to make a map. Lead wire, loads of different types of lead wire, as you can imagine, all the different sizes. We've got the solid, this is like the copper type wire, jewellery making stuff, fantastic for that. And again, some heavy duty gauge stuff as well, so if that's needed. And as well, we've got lead on rolls, you name it, we've got it absolutely everywhere. And then down on here again, we're talking about the lead wire on rolls. I must admit, I think he was a fly fisherman or something on eBay, and I bought a load off of him. That's a motor from Magic. All the scratch building stuff. So we've got various different bits of evergreen, plastic strut, all those types of things down in here. Brass rod, offcuts, as I say, I always keep my offcuts literally right the way down to the resin when we've done in-flight stuff. So we've got all the bits down there. We've spoken about this a lot. This is the bare metal foil. This is another really handy tool which I use all the time now. It's called an infinity board. Again, got it for Christmas. One of the members sent it to me as a Christmas present. I use this all the time, even for doing straight cutting, because this has, you hear it? It's got actually grooves in it. So if you just put a bit of tape on there, you don't need a roller, just then drop it down, and you end up, as you can see, with a perfectly straight line. A very handy tool to have. Okay, so I love that. That's where I pinch the SWAT stickers out of, set down on that one, or was it the iron crosses? Again, evergreen sheet, we've got the various lumps and bumps of it still left over, things like that. Mask set for something. Yeah, right the way through, right the way down to a load of Albion alloy stuff. We've got all the different thicknesses of metal rods and stuff. So that's my scratch building section, for want of a better word. So that's all the bits and tools. Oh, one of the guys sent me down here, it's actually a welding gauge, and he was thinking perhaps we could use it for like a deburring tool. The trouble is these are actually quite nice because they're not sharp, yet you need a sharp one for a deburring tool. So it was a little bit of a test because these are peanuts to buy, yet deburring tools are quite expensive. So that's why we ended up doing that one. Right, now we're into the rubbish section. Okay, so we've got gloves, hammers, vices, some of the stuff we've used over time, so various things. Like that's fibre optics down here in the bags. We've got glue guns, glue sticks. We've got air tools. I do use a lot of air tools for other projects I have. So I've got a little air grinder there. I've got a saw in there, various things. My old Dremel, which is a bigger version of, and various things. Sticky sticks when we were having a look at them. Q-tips, cotton buds, and obviously a lot of you know I tend to buy my paintbrushes in bulk because I am that bad with them. I am pretty awful with them. So what I tend to do is just buy a pack at a time, and then when they look a bit ropey, I bin them. So I just do that. Okay, so that's that one down in there. And then last up, if this will open without hitting the leg of the camera, which I think it will, is literally my junk drawer. So again, we've got the Dremel down in there. I've got a foam. This is the foam that I talk about if you're doing, you know, chipping and stuff like that. I just tear up lumps of this. Hot air gun, and this is all really just the bigger stuff and all the junk. Some of the casting gear we've used in the past. Some of the moulds. You see the mould starting to go off there. You think that's over a year old now. You can see how it's starting to deteriorate. But that's the moulds when we were moulding all the Star Wars stuff, which I've still got, everyone. I just haven't got around to actually doing it yet. But it just shows how moulds deteriorate over time. More cotton buds, loads of tools. So we've got all heavy duty stuff down here for the big compressor, because literally just out in the shed, which is on the other side of this wall, I have got a huge big industrial compressor. So if we're running air tools, I've got an air tool thing that comes in down under here, which is in there, and I've got the big air line comes in there. So if we're running proper size, full size air tools, I can do that. And that's it. Usual thing, it's like a junk drawer really. Can of butane. There's our little one. He's actually, I quite like this guy, he's quite cute. It's not as clumsy and as wielding as the other one. Safety specs, which I've got up here anyway, but there's another one that I'll bring them out. Okay, and that is it. So, there we go. That is our little drawer. If I try and go freehand, which is this one here, which is the one that sits behind me. I'll tell you what I do if I do that. There we go. As I say, these cabinets, if you're thinking about buying one, just stick that over there. These here, they are not cheap. I think I paid about 400 quid for that one and 400 quid for that one. Now normally they're on wheels, and then you have handles on the sides and everything else like that, but they are nice because they've got like 2-stage, they're lockable, they're beautiful gliding, they sit here and you can have them like that, and then to lock them properly you just give them a nudge and they lock and everything else like that. Just on the top, okay, so we've got a little mini pillar drill. To be honest, 60 quid off of eBay. They do show it in different colours, as in green and stuff like that, but it's got a little thing, it's got a 3/8 chuck in there, it's got a speed controller on it as well, and things like that. And then behind it I've got a real heavy duty vice clamp for putting things in, and then I've got other things around it as well. And then this little guy, which is the Proxon scroll saw, which I do a lot of work on that. The only thing is it bounces around like hell if you're not actually using it when it's running. So what I tend to do is you know, hold it, but I need to bolt it technically down to this would be ideal. But it's great. It's got quite a nice little long arm on it. You got various guides and tools as well for doing straight lines and stuff, but it's got a very good depth of cut, and because you can get these blades to literally no size at all, like these are the blades for it, they are absolutely they're the big ones actually. Let me show you the small ones if I can get them out even. They are like hairs. There we go. These things, you'll see more of these, but and if you can even see teeth on it, they are absolutely tiny, tiny, tiny. So, you know, if you want to do some serious cutting with it, then this is the one. But if you want to do fine, that's a medium blade in there, which I tend to use. But if you want to do fine stuff, very detailed stuff, things like that, then you can do that. It's got an extractor as well, so obviously you can just plug the Hoover into it, so you get no dust, no mess, and everything else like that. So, there we go. That is cupboard 1, okay, drawer 1. So join me next time and we'll probably go over to this one where obviously we'll talk about the belt sander and all the junk that presides in there. So there we go, part 1, guys. So there we go, guys, that's part 1 of going through the tools. As I said, it will be standalone, so you can watch it as a standalone, but I thought I'd include it in today's show, okay. So anyway, here we go. We've managed to shoehorn this entire in here. Okay, I've still got to do the underside and with the gun and the various bits and pieces, but the main thing was trying to fit in the cockpit, the instrument panel, the rear deck, everything in there with the electronics bay and everything like that. So it was, to be honest, a little bit of a handful, and as you'll see in the video for it, being part 3, I did have a bit of a nightmare, okay? But generally the rest of it is all together. It feels like a club, you know, go around and beat people with this thing. But it is really nice, I must admit. We had a little bit of a gap, instrument panel, trying to fit that. So we knocked up some concrete, as I call it. It's there, it's just got a tiny little slither gap around each side. So I thought, right, well, we're gonna get in there. That way I can sand it, paint it, fill it, as is required, make a nice clean job of it, then we can push on, okay? But generally, as you can see, we are really starting to come together. Now, that was the problem area. We've done the wings, the tails, and absolutely everything with this guy. So, you know, when this thing gets going, and we really start to bring this together, it should be very, very nice, okay? It's gonna come in really, really quickly, because as I say, that was all the hard work done, so we can just push on with that one. But no, a good morning's work on that. The other thing I've got to do is thank someone, because they didn't actually put their name with it. I know it's on the computer and all the rest of it, but one of the members has sent me this. We were speaking about obviously references and various things as you might need for sort of Cold War jets like Meteors and stuff, and although it doesn't show the riveting detail, you have got some beautiful panel line drawings, the details of them, of all the Cold War books. Massive thank you. I must admit, I sat down and I was reading it properly last night, went through it and everything else, and apologies, I've forgotten your name. Okay, but there we go. That is absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much for that. As I say, it's Cold War Jets. I don't know who publishes it. Who's the publisher of it? It was by Chris Santom Bailey. I don't know who the one is behind it. It's going to be one of the lot. But anyway, very, very nice. Very handy book to have. The other thing as well, I will blow it up for tomorrow, but somebody sent me an inflatable Santa. Which I can't remember. I've got your details all over there, but it's over there. But it's not Santa, it's someone else. But I'll blow it up because I think it would be more fun if I blow it up. But thank you, because that arrived yesterday as well. So thanks, guys. Very, very nice of you. So that is about it for me today. I'm going to have to go off and do the orders now, and then, to be honest, we'll check this footage, make sure it's all okay, and I'm going to edit up obviously what you've just seen, which seems a bit weird, but I just did the things with the tools before I did this, so I'm going to have to go and do that to put that into today. So there we go. As you said, if you like the tool thing, let me know. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down, give me a thumbs up if you did on YouTube. It gives me an idea of what you like and what you don't like, and stuff like that. So there we go. Thank you very much for joining me today, guys, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.